main screen. Justin, take it away.
Hey everybody, this is the ALCast, your favorite podcast with your favorite four dudes every week. I'm Justin.
I'm Chris.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Allan.
And this week, we're going to talk about hypotheticals. So Wikipedia says that hypotheticals are situations in which a hypothesis, theory, or principle is laid out for the purposes of thinking through its consequences. I just think they're super fucking fun to talk about. It lets you explore like what your ideas are about things, narrow down like what the problems might be, and just generally think things through. So I think the first one we're going to go through this week is one we talked about last week, which is the trolley problem. So you're at a switch. You see 5 people tied to a track. The train is going straight for them. But if you pull the switch, it can switch the track to one person instead. Do you pull it? And if you do, like, what are the problems with that?
Are we bringing low energy into this whole thing?
What is this low energy? Fuck.
I don't know, man. You sound really quiet and
Do I?
soft-spoken. Yeah.
Man, I'm just trying to. This is my reading voice. All right, fuck you.
He's doing a podcast voice. He's finding his podcast voice.
Yeah. Let's all find our podcast voices today.
So when you walk up to the lever for the trolley problem, it's important that you pick the outcome where as many people as possible die. This
God, fuck you guys.
is gonna improve your kill to death ratio and let your team win the game.
You gotta get that KD up.
I think a good podcast voice is important. And I think a good podcast voice is like those old 50s like radio story voices.
Hey, what do you say here? Hey, everybody, let's do our podcast voices.
Or
Like that? Did I do?
Back when they were reading
Apparently-
like Godzilla and shit to kids like over the radio, that was like instead of watching
Godzilla to kids?
watching TV at night, like everyone would like sit around the radio and then like they would read them stories about fucking I don't know aliens and technology and all that shit.
And Godzilla.
There are cultural differences between groups of people regarding whether or not they can take hypotheticals seriously. I've actually heard that if you go to like a Russian like peasant or something in the year like 1800 or whatever, and you start asking him like abstract questions, he'll be like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Like he won't even understand. Like,
I mean, there are a lot of people who just can't engage with hypotheticals. It's like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, no, yeah, it's not supposed to. It's a fucking hypothetical.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people like that today, even not just 1800s Russian peasants.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sure.
2000s American peasants.
so
Yeah.
there is something that I've been kind of confused about for like the trolley problem, because like if you could take it completely abstractly, it's just a math problem, right? It's like, is 5 greater than 1? And then the answer is like yes. So then you're like, okay.
But what if
here's
it's
the-
5 murderers
Well, there's
and
a lot of
one baby?
there's a lot of ways to break it down and stuff.
I mean,
But just the basic one. But what I would try to do when I'm answering the trolley problem, though, is I would actually try to imagine the situation like realistically, and then in that situation, it's terrifying, right? You know, this horrible thing's going to happen. Doesn't matter what you do, something horrible is going to happen. And then in that situation, everything, and it's like this has to be happening quick, right? You can't just get the people out of the way. You have to use this lever. And I think somebody could be excused for just not being able to do anything in that situation.
yeah, I think there's
yeah.
something to that. Like, you know, consequentially, it is just a math problem. It's 5 people versus 1 person. But I think there's an idea of there's a difference between allowing something to happen and causing something to happen. I think there's like a different hypothetical where it's like you really want to kill someone. You're going to the bathroom while they're taking a bath to kill them, but you find them drowning on their own instead. So is there actually a difference, like between you just allowing them to continue to drown, or you actually putting your hands in the tub and pushing them under there? Like,
Yes.
Is there a meaningful difference?
Yes, there's a very, very large difference.
Yeah, I think in the eyes of the law, there's a large difference too, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm just talking about morally right now. Like,
I I think intent matters morally too. I think intent matters morally more.
Right, but you were going in there to kill them.
So your job's done. Like, morally, you're already deciding to make this choice to murder a person.
So are you saying there's no difference in that situation then?
Well, you're not giving yourself the chance to change your mind.
I guess not. Well, I mean, I guess you are. You could pull them out at any point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the Trolley
I
Problem.
mean, the
is
same
all
thing when
about-
you're drowning someone. Like, if you have someone under the water, you can pull them out at any point. You know?
Right, yeah.
Almost at any point.
Well, you could definitely pull them out at any point, whether or not they're going to be
I
alive.
mean, there's a line where it's too late, right?
But yeah,
So
I mean,
hypothetically, like specifically, how would when you go into the bathroom to commit the murder, specifically, like how do you do that?
I mean, like, I guess in the hypothetical, you would just push them under the water until the bubbles
You
stop.
bring a toaster in with you, and then you
bring a
plug the
toaster in
toaster
there,
in, and then you slowly push it into the water and see if they stop you. Because if they don't stop you, then it's their fault that they died, right? That's what we're saying here.
I mean, maybe, dude.
They didn't stop you from killing them, so
mean-
well, Alan, you were saying something about the Trolley Problem.
yeah, I mean, to me, the whole thing comes down to like action versus inaction, and like the responsibilities and the consequences of either. So it's all imagine everything you do. Imagine everything you did the past 2 days, and imagine everything you could have done, and imagine you not doing anything that you did. And it's just like the butterfly effect of all those options. I don't know. To me, I feel like if I don't do anything, I haven't killed anyone. If I pull the lever, I definitely kill someone.
Right, yeah. So it's just like,
you
well,
think that okay.
And
So
also,
you're saying that you wouldn't feel responsible if you were standing there in front of the lever with the ability to pull it as a train is barreling down. You wouldn't feel responsible for allowing those 5 people to die. But if you pulled the lever, then you would feel responsible for killing that person?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine all the things you could do to like make the world a better place. Like pulling the lever is making the world a better place, but pulling the lever is also being a murderer.
Who knows?
It's also being.
Who
a
knows
murderer.
if it's making the world a better place?
I suppose that's true, but
does the number of other people that have access to the lever factor into this?
I think the point is that you are the only person
You're
with
the only
access to the
person with
lever.
access to the lever.
right, yeah. Can't bystander this one.
There is this actually does kind of remind me of a circumstance that happened. Was it today? It was either today or yesterday, where I actually came pretty close to calling 911.
Are we doing that again?
It's sort of
This
similar.
one for the year.
So I was just driving. It was yesterday, actually. Now that I think about it, it was yesterday. I was just driving from like the Silver Spring kind of Aspen Hill area towards Virginia, and between on this road there was this big metal plate, and I saw this truck go over it in front of me, and like the metal plate did this like big like boom boom, like it really looked like it wasn't supposed to do that. It looked like the next person that was going to go over the plate was just going to go right in. And the next person was actually me. And I made it over the plate, but I was like, shit, that was scary. Like, should I call this? But I was like, I could have gone any other way. There's any number of other people that see this plate. I don't like. I'm just not going to do that. Like, I don't know. So hopefully somebody didn't crash into that plate or whatever. But
So, Alan, if you came across a car and there was a child inside with all the windows up, and it's like 100 degrees outside, you wouldn't try to get the child out of the car because you feel like it's not like how in this trolley problem.
That's not what I said. So, well, I guess that's kind of like the example I point out, but like smashing a window and like murdering 5 people, I think are different things. Like there's actually like 3 days ago. Funny enough that you said that. 3 days ago, my friend texted me. She was like, I'm walking to my car and the car next to me, there's 2 dogs in it. It's hot as fuck outside. What do I do? And I was like, well, it's hot, but like realistically they're uncomfortable, but it was about 15 minutes before it's dangerous. How long have you been out there? She's like, I've been out here 8 minutes. I was like, okay. In like 2 minutes, call the police. In 3 minutes, smash a window. And then she was like, okay. So she was kind of like frantic and stuff. And then I was like, wait, is the car on? Like, can you hear like the AC on and stuff like that? And she was like, I can't really distinguish the sound of the AC because I said you should be able to hear like the compressor and stuff.
Like, is the car on? Because if the car's on, the
yeah.
AC is almost certainly on.
Right. But then she was like, well, actually looking at the dash, I see like the dash is on with like the climate control stuff. I was like, okay, the dogs are probably fine. You don't need to smash anything. But I don't know, man. Like there was a post on Reddit the other day that some dude in Las Vegas had a dog in his car. Some fucking
And
lady
he melted right into the floorboard.
Yeah, some lady. I think the lady like smashed the window, and the police came, arrested the dude on a felony. Yeah, if there's a fucking thing in a car, and I have like no discerning way to tell that there's like, yes,
They arrested the dog owner?
they arrested
They
the
arrested
dog.
the dog.
They arrested the dog owner. What did I say? The dog?
I'm like, what? Did I? Am I drunk?
No, they
What's
arrested the
happening?
owner.
Yeah, okay.
They arrested the owner on a felony charge too.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but like if there's no way I can tell that like the thing inside of this potentially burning hot thing, potentially burning hot box, is okay, then sure, why not? I got a tire and iron in my trunk. I like smashing windows. But I don't know. I think killing someone is quite a bit like if I break a dude's window and it was an accident, worst comes to worst, pay $500, gets a new window.
Yeah, it's allowing 5 people to die versus causing 1 person to die.
I think it's still a tough sell. I think it's still a tough sell. And I think the reason why is that like the most useful human morality just isn't super good at that specific situation. But the most useful human morality, like it actually isn't that consequentialist. Because like, and the reason why is because like you just don't generally know what the consequences of actions are. So you kind of have to be able to evaluate the actions before the consequences, or else it doesn't help at all when you're trying to make decisions, right? So for that reason, it's like any kind of useful morality kind of has to be not entirely consequentialist, I think, right? Because like generally you don't have time to sort of figure out every knock-on effect of every decision that you make. You sort of have to associate value decisions themselves.
So I think morality only matters when it's when it takes consequences into consideration. You saying the only correct morality is statistical morality?
No, I'm saying that correct morality would be like useful morality. And like I've actually given this a bit of thought, and like I'm trying to put my finger on like, so what is it about the super consequentialist morality that I couldn't quite get on board with? And I think one thing that does it is like, so say like every person walk around as a supercomputer, and then like they can all calculate like 20 moves ahead, and they just know all the consequences of their decision. What's going to happen is like you're going to get examples of people just behaving very strangely, because like, oh, in this generally this is bad, but in this specific situation, like on this consequentialist like computation thing, oh, I have to do the opposite of what's normally good because in this specific situation the consequences are different. So then you're in a situation where it's actually very difficult to judge whether actions are good or bad until you've reviewed all that. But the thing is, like in our society, like there's so much room for people to game that. Like people would just lie about that. They'd be like, okay, like normally you can't cheat and steal stuff from the store, but like, oh, like in my consequentialist morality, like 20 steps ahead, this is actually better. And then everybody's going to be biased for themselves, and they're not actually going to be weighing other people's experiences. And like, do you see what I'm saying?
I think that's something that already happens. I think I don't think that's. I think the example that you're putting forth is saying that they're just using the consequential morality in order to create a situation in which they are morally correct. Like they are going so far down in the path of the possible consequences to get to a point where what I did was good.
Right. And then that opens the door to just So what's more common is people will just evaluate actions with independent of consequences. Be like stealing bad, murder bad. And so the analysis is very simple. It's like you don't even necessarily look at who's being stolen from or who's benefiting from the stealing, right? Like you're just stealing bad. And then
But why?
Well, because
Why stealing bad? Me hungry. Why stealing bad? Me hungry. You full. Why stealing bad?
Because the rule itself is easy to understand, and the rule has value. The rule has value for like normalizing behavior, and then when people's behavior is normalized, just the fact that they agree on things provides value.
So morality should be based on the majority. Whatever people...
Convention. Yeah, I'm basically arguing for just conventional morality, like for just normal morality.
What is normal morality?
That opens up
That's kind of begging the question, right?
a whole line of questioning.
Well, normal has kind of a definition, right? It means that it's at the center of like a distribution, right? It's just the biggest part of like the bell curve, right?
So the majority. If the majority of people in the world thought that being homosexual was amoral, do you think that normal morality would then reflect that? That if you are homosexual, you are now amoral because the majority of people believe that?
That's a good point. I actually hadn't really thought about that. So I guess I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say that I don't think what's considered normal can ever change. But I just think the fact that there are conventions has value.
I think my opinion on morality is that it only matters in the way that it affects other people, not in the way that it affects yourself. I don't know. I think that do whatever you want, just don't hurt somebody.
Sure.
Don't hurt anyone. Don't make decisions that are purposefully made in order to cause harm or discomfort or pain to someone.
If you look at it that way, if you're pulling the switch in the trolley problem, you're doing bad, right? Because you're doing harm to someone.
Well, I don't necessarily think that would be bad.
Your personal morality would be bad. I mean, Allan said that he would feel personally responsible for it. I think you then put yourself into that situation. If your hand, I don't know. There's the other version of that problem, which is the saw. It was in like some game a little while ago, Until Dawn. But there's two people that are strapped to a board, and there's a large saw that's barreling towards the both of them. If you do nothing, they both die. If you pull this lever one direction or another, only one of them dies. But you are the person who is influencing which one dies. What do you do in that situation?
Well,
do you touch the lever or do you just let them both die? Because in that case, you didn't do anything.
Well, in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, spoiler alert, Batman is given that choice, and he goes for who he presumes to be his love interest, but was actually Harvey Dent, because Joker told them the wrong addresses.
I guess true. Yeah, because either both of them would die or you save one of them.
And not the one that you want to save.
Man.
So I guess...
What a mastermind. What a criminal mastermind he is.
I don't know. So say somebody off the street just walks up and all of a sudden they're in the trolley problem. Like, what if they just don't understand the trolley problem? What if they just like don't understand like the situation? It's like the
5 people die.
Hypotheticals within hypotheticals.
Right. And
what if this person likes to murder?
No, I think this is an important point, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that there is some degree of elitism in just assuming that your average person on the street should be able to.
I think the point of the trolley problem is you
consequentialist
explain the
morality.
trolley problem to the person that you are proposing the trolley problem to. I don't think you just grab somebody and put them in front of a lever and then a train just starts whizzing by.
That is the image in my head when I think of the trolley problem. I think I'm just like there and I noticed it, I don't imagine somebody explaining it to me.
But the lever says pull here to murder less.
I mean, honestly, I think a good 50% of people that got teleported into that problem would just fuck it up and just let 5 people die. Not necessarily fuck it up, but like they just would panic and not do anything. Not because like they made a choice to do nothing, they just didn't do it.
Sure.
Yeah,
And I actually don't think that's morally
inaction
bad because
over action.
I think that that's just sad. That's a sad situation, but I don't think that's a morally bad outcome. You can't really expect people to like deviate from like.
So in that case, does inaction have morality?
So I think I have a different hypothetical that we can kind of segue into for that.
Sure.
Something that's a little less like life or death. Maybe a little bit less. Let's say that you're walking to the convenience store or something. Just something like it's kind of casual, whatever. You don't have to be there on time, whatever. And on your way there, you encounter a child drowning in a pool. The pool is like waist high. The kid just can't swim. It would be really easy for you to just walk in there and pull him out. But in the process, you're going to ruin your favorite pair of pants. Do you go in and save
your
the child?
sneaks.
Yeah, and your
Don't
sneakers.
forget your sneaks.
Yeah, your sneakers get fucked.
You got the new Air Jordans?
Let's not
in the
say they're
bottle.
Air Jordans. Let's just say you got them from Payless, all right?
If you got them from
Why do you
Payless,
think that matters? You're like, well,
No,
okay.
It comes
no,
in
that's
later, all right?
easy.
You've got to figure
just
out
go
the
with it.
exact
Just go with
amount
it.
of like clothing value wherever.
You're losing about $10 in clothing.
Okay.
Do you go in and save the child?
I feel like the only joke that we're set up for here is a joke that makes us horrible people.
there was
So I think maybe by adding a monetary value to morality, we are amoral. Like in itself.
well, there was a story that this happened in, and I think in that story there was like someone drowning, and then like someone else jumped to save them, but they didn't know how to swim. Then they were drowning. Then someone else jumped and then tried to help them. Then they were drowning, and then like 3 people
That's a
died.
kelpie.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's a fucking kelpie.
Yeah,
They killed those people.
this actually happens sometimes in sewers. Like someone will jump down a sewer, they'll pass out, and then everyone else around the manhole will like freak out, and they'll jump down as well, and they'll also pass out from the gases. And you just have like 5 people dead because of it. I think it's actually happened like several times like that.
That's what they tell you when you're in an airplane and there's a pressure leak. That's why they tell you to do your mask before you're doing anybody else's.
Yeah, for sure.
For that exact reason.
I don't know. I think I would like to say that I would help them.
Okay, to be clear, there is no risk for you. It is a minor inconvenience. All you have to do is walk into the pool and pick up the child.
I would probably
Yes.
I would probably save the child then.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that we would save the child. And
But what if the store closes in 10 seconds?
it's a 24-hour store, all right? Let's remove that.
All right, I
What
just
if you're
gotta make
on
sure
your
I
way
get
to
my
the trolley
M&Ms.
problem?
Okay, so we all agree. Damn it. We all agree that we save the child. The next
Sure.
day, the same thing happens. Another child drowning in a different pool. You're also wearing $10 worth of pants. You step in the pool, you lose $10 worth of pants. Do you save that child as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
When do you stop?
You don't.
Like you encounter a child 365 days a year drowning in a
you're
pool.
asking when
Do you
you
step
stop
in
or
and
you can't?
save them every day? Is that what you're saying?
You evolve. If I go outside on the second day and I see a child in a pool again, I save that child. But then I start bringing rope with me everywhere I go,
Or wearing bathing suits.
or wearing bathing suits. Right? Like, it's evolution is the point. Like you
Okay, right.
evolve with the times.
I would be worried that I'm
If you're living in a world where children are stuck in puddles all the time and they're drowning,
yeah,
you fucking carry a lifesaver with you.
you're cursed by the fucking like puddle demon.
You got to start
Yeah,
suing
yeah.
people for not securing their swimming pools or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
But see
You
that's,
fill in the fucking hole.
that's the thing. So we're a pretty litigious group of people as Americans, and there are quite a few cases of people suing their savior after Heimlich maneuvers.
because they broke their rib.
Usually because they broke their rib. So I don't know. I think I'm not sure how to confidently do the Heimlich, so I don't know if I would volunteer to do that if someone is choking. If I was the only person around, I guess I would try, but I also don't want to get sued for trying to do someone a favor.
Okay,
Would
let's
that
say for the
stop
sake of
you?
hypothetical that there's no risk of legal liability.
Sure. Then it's like a no-brainer.
Okay,
It's like-
you would step in the pool every day for years and years.
I would honestly there is a limit.
Where is the limit?
I don't know. But
Oh,
like,
man, okay.
By the 100th kid, I might just be like, fuck it. Like, the kids want to drown? Darwin. Like, I don't give a shit.
Oh man. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey,
It might,
how about you?
It might be
I
100, it
feel
might be
like-
1,000. I don't know.
I feel like if you knew for a fact that you were going to save a kid from drowning every day, I feel like you would be like the biggest social media celebrity in the world. You just
Yeah,
like,
you evolve. You do something to make it work. Like I don't know. You live in the world that you're
Okay.
given.
I mean, it's a ridiculous hypothetical. Like, let's say you can't carry shit with you. You're not going to get any social media fame for it. You're
But I never stop.
only, huh? You would just
I never
you would
stop.
still never
Is it
stop.
every single day?
Is it the same kid every day?
No, different kid every day.
Different kid every day. So I actually kind of empathize with Alan if it's the same kid every day.
You're like, all right, you little fucker.
It's like some things just seem like they're meant to be. Point, right? But if it's a different kid every day, like I don't know, that kid's got a whole life ahead of them where they're not jumping in the same goddamn pool over and over.
Okay. So if
I would like
You
to
are-
defend myself by saying that I think because at some point, then like your life doesn't become your own. Your life becomes saving children, which is a noble life.
How long is it taking me to save children every day? If I spend 10 minutes a day saving kids, totally fine with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
How long does
I
it take
get
me to
it.
get back to the pool? Is it my whole day
let's
ruined?
say it takes 15 minutes every day, and you lose $10 worth of pants every day.
Yeah,
That's just baked in. We can't.
I mean,
do the data something.
I personally just get annoyed by being asked to do like small, easy to do tasks. Obviously, the child is drowning, right? So it's not small to them. I don't know.
Okay, so Chris, let's say instead of using $10 worth of pants every day, you lose $100 worth of pants
Yes, every day.
every day. What if
Every
it's,
day.
What if it's like you go in and you ruin your cell phone every day?
I stopped carrying my cell phone with me.
Okay,
I don't know. Yes, like especially a child's life. I just have no like. There's not. I think the closest would be every time I went into it, I lost a finger. How many times would I do it?
I mean, you can only do
Probably
that 10 times, right?
until I have no more fingers.
Yeah,
But maybe I would still want to keep like some of them. You know, I like video games, so if I would probably do it 6 times and keep 2 fingers.
Okay, so the
limit is my own ability to live.
sure.
I guess
Gosh, I actually don't think I want to lose that many fingers.
I mean, neither do you.
it would suck.
So let's say that instead of walking past a child, you have a robotic arm attached to a monitor that's looking at a pool that will pull a drowning child out of the pool. But it costs you $200 every time you push it. How often do you push it? You're the only person in the world that has access to this button.
And
As much as I can. I don't know.
How much is
I-
as much as you can? At what
Let me
point
look
do
at
you
my
just
bank
hit the ground?
account until I get to a point where I can no longer like take care of myself.
so
To a point where I become bankrupt. I
Okay,
guess.
so even if the child isn't near you, you still feel a responsibility, even if it costs you financially, to assist that child.
Well, I mean, if you guys had superpowers, would you not use them for
Well,
like?
I'm getting to it. All right.
no, I think I see what
question,
Justin's getting
like-
to. So basically, there's lots of kind of depraved situations all around the world where you probably could have that kind of impact for that kind of money, right? But like
Yeah.
people don't necessarily do that.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. And honestly, that's like that's just true. Like I do. I guess one difference would be the video feed that I have. Because like intellectually, you can kind of imagine some bad scenario. You can imagine some better scenario. I don't know. Like
Right. Yeah. It like
but
on an instinctual level, you see a kid drowning, you're pushing the button probably. But morally, you intellectually like recognize that these kind of situations are happening. You could just give some money to make it stop happening. And at what level are you continually responsible for not assisting?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
No, it's actually like legit very difficult problem.
I don't know. I think I was always raised like that you take care of yourself and anything extra you give. Like then you start taking care of the people around you. You don't hoard. Like that was just never my like how I was brought up. And so I don't know. That problem for me just doesn't sound like yeah, if I had the means, I would do it. If I had the means and I could continue to live my life and also have a positive impact, like why would you not spend as much money as possible? Why would you not like
Right.
what else are you doing with it? Just holding it?
I mean, do you ever buy Starbucks?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Why aren't you giving that $5 to charity instead then?
Because I also have to live. And I also
Right.
have an internal like meter that needs to be fed and kept happy.
But it needs to be fed Starbucks for $5.
Well, it needs to be taken care of.
I don't think
It needs
Starbucks
to
is
be-
$5
Couldn't you
anymore.
find some other means to do that?
It's definitely not.
If it meant the life of a child?
So how about this? How about this argument?
I'm putting you under the gun. I know that, but like,
No.
yeah, I'm just trying to make you think. That's all.
I think that there's I agree. I think that there's an extent. I think that there's an extent where like convenience outweighs where we take convenience over someone else's
So-
pain and suffering.
What if the like I feel like there might be some mathematical like verification here where like you might be able to demonstrate that if you're trying to like compound stuff that like the most effective say your only goal with your life was to donate to charity. I feel like there might be some mathematical support to saying like you're best off doing that all with your will. And while you're alive just actually hoarding and keeping everything, and then when you die, like just donating that all at that point, because then like you've got the most like compounding happening, like if you're investing or something like that.
Like compounding interest, right? You're talking about like you would gain more money that way, and so you would have more to donate to charity. I think that would suppose that problems aren't continuous. Because the longer that you go without treating something, the worse and worse it gets. You have to take that and you have to compare it to the compounding interest of like that of the problem.
So the problem compounds too. So that's the answer. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I think there's a couple of things to it. One, I think that maybe morality has a radius to it. Like maybe you aren't necessarily obligated to people in other countries, at least to some degree. Like with a drowning child that's next to you, obviously you need to go in the pool and you need to save them. With someone that's like on the other side of the world, that maybe your $10 can help. Like I'm not so sure, but at the same time, I don't think it's right to be obligated to help someone necessarily. Like I don't think that, for example, I don't think anybody should like be forced to give up a kidney just for other people who need kidney donations. Like, I don't think that's right. And that kind of extends out to money, because money is something you sacrifice a chunk of your life in order to acquire, to some degree.
So this, I don't know, this might be kind of shocking or distasteful to people, but I have heard a moral argument for why food aid is actually bad.
What?
Well, and
like, is it a self-sufficiency argument or something?
Yeah, I mean, and the argument is that, okay, so if you provide a bunch of food aid, you're actually competing with the local agriculture with your free food aid. And they can't compete with that. And then they go out of business and then they lose their food production capability. And the problem gets worse.
So what you're saying has happened with, I think, the African textile industry. That like people just kept donating so much clothes to different African countries and like tribes and stuff. And people are just like, oh, look, free T-shirt. So they stopped. Just the African textile industry just completely died off. And they're just like, please stop sending us stuff. We need to make our own shit. Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, we need industry. Can't just keep taking stuff. So I think Nate's saying the same thing. Like, if people keep getting like the free food, they'll rely on it, then there'll be no point in like the farmers. Then no one will farm, and then
Yeah, because farmers depend on commodity prices being high, right? That's how they make a living. So if the donations like drop the prices, and if they can't make a living farming, they'll lose the capability to farm, and then like that sector of the economy goes away, and then that whole region might not be producing food anymore, and the problem would
So
actually
doesn't that
work.
just mean we have to find a different way to support areas like that? That actually doesn't like that's a problem that we see from a resolution that was tried, right? Where you see a starving area, you think, okay, I'll give them food, you give them food. That solves the problem of the starvation. Eventually that problem compounds and you start to get the extra problem, the problem of like the industry falling. But then doesn't that mean that you just like change the method of support? Oh, sending them, you can't just like keep band-aiding a fucking cancer. You have to like treat it like a cancer. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. You can't just like think that one solution is going to solve everything. So yeah, like the food aid might be a problem in so much as that it could create those issues, but I think those issues are easy enough to see to adjust the support that's being given.
Well, maybe it is, but I don't know. I think some version of this kind of thing has actually happened. I don't actually know to what scale that happens, but I think at least something like that has happened to some degree. But
I've also heard
plausible.
of that kind of thing happening. Like I think that's why a lot of charities are just switching to just straight up giving money to like needy people, because
and then they can buy like the local food or something.
Yeah, you just give them money. They can do whatever they want with it. They can start their own business. They can like buy food. They can do whatever they want to do, rather than providing means for them. And it's also more efficient because it's way easier to just send money than it is to ship food or something.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Which obviously wouldn't work in an area where there is no commercial industry. You would still need to send food, right? There's no like one size fits all problem. It's something that just needs to get adjusted
if they have money,
the consequences.
they can import it. But if
what are they going to do? Go on Amazon? They don't have a fucking grocery store. They probably don't have the internet.
Speaking of commercial, I have a different hypothetical.
Excellent.
This one's like way easier. If you could get a tattoo of a fast food place and receive free food for life from them.
The Subway guy?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, would you do it? Would you do it?
I think someone did it with Taco Bell too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's an important detail we're missing here.
What's up?
Where's the tattoo?
On your back, 12 by 12 giant tattoo.
Where on your back? Like you're in the middle.
Like
of it?
right on the spine, like right here.
Like would it peak above like the collar of a shirt?
Not necessarily.
Every once in a while, people see like the taco meat, just like
Yeah.
the shirt. But it looks enough like back hair that like most people won't notice.
See, the thing is, like, would I do it? No. If I look like Post Malone, fuck yeah, dude. The dude has tattoos on his face. Just put a fucking Taco Bell symbol on your face. Get free Taco Bell for life.
Yeah, I guess, man. I think there's a limit to it for me. Like, would I get one on my back for free food for life? Maybe. Like, would I get it on my face? I don't think I could do my face, man. I just don't think I could.
Are we talking about counter service like Chipotle style, or are we talking about
like counter style or even pickup? Like just same as ordering at whatever fast food place of your choice is.
Fast food or
I
fast
can have an
casual?
Outback Steakhouse tattoo, and I could eat an Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, you
whenever
can have
I
an
want for
Outback
free.
Steakhouse, sure.
I would do that.
I don't think Outback counts. Outback counts. No.
Like for the hypothetical, I'm counting it. All right.
Fine.
Oh,
So
shit.
any chain restaurant, be it McDonald's or Outback.
Right.
Get a TGI Fridays tattoo. TGIF. Right on.
Yeah, man.
Easy peasy.
Wow, this really opened up with the more restaurant options. Now this is like this reminds me of my like daily problems of like trying to figure out what to eat. But
Yeah, I think I would straight up do Chipotle. Like, no question. Like, I would just do it.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
if it's any,
If it was on my back, yeah.
But
if it's
Chipotle is great because of the value, though. Like I feel like it's good ingredients for like a reasonable price. But in this
It's really good value.
in this scenario, it's free. So it doesn't have to be Chipotle. His value doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, but his quantity of Chipotle is so high that the value doesn't, like, the value becomes less because he's just ordering so much. So he might as well get a tattoo.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I could get IHOP, but
Can
I
just go in and
rarely eat
clear out
IHOP.
their bar?
Yeah.
Like, just be like, hey, give me all the meat you got. I'll take all of it.
Okay. All right. One item per
Give me
day.
all
Okay.
the eggs you
One item
have.
per day, like one. So if you're ordering from like a chain restaurant, like a sit down, it's one entree per day.
Yeah.
Dude, I would do, like, if it counts, like, I would do the fucking Palm. It's a steakhouse. They have locations. Like,
Yeah.
You would go down and eat at the Palm every day.
hell yeah, dude. Get a surf and turf, get a steak and a lobster tail.
I guess.
What if you could pay a monthly amount and you get a meal plan at a restaurant? And you're just like, I pay like $30 a month, and every day I can go into this restaurant and get one meal per day.
There have been businesses that have done that. Movie theaters did that for a while. And it was, I think you pay like $15 a month or something, and you can see one movie a day.
Yeah,
And
Movie Pass.
Movie Pass.
Famously died a very horrible, horrible long death.
Because people were like, that sounds like an amazing deal. And people like my brother were just like, dude, I'm just going to get that, go to a movie every day.
Yeah.
But now he's got like AMC stubs. So they actually, like, with the death of that, like AMC like got him to like up on their subs thing. But my favorite example is Cadillac actually had a program like this. You'd pay $1,500 a month and you have any Cadillac you want. So you'd go, like, your daily commuter could be a sedan, and then you're like, oh, I'm going off to the weekend in the mountains with some friends. So you'd go in, like, on a Thursday, trade in the sedan for Escalade. Then you have the Escalade for as long as you want. Then we're like, hey, I want to get a convertible. Go turn that in, get the convertible. And it's like, all right, I'm done with that. Go turn that in, get another one. $1,500 is very expensive, but
I have a friend who works for a car sharing service like that. Like, people pay, like, I don't know, $2,000 a month or something. They can get Teslas, they can get BMWs. I think they can get. I don't think they go up to Ferrari level, but they go up like fairly high, like Teslas and shit.
I want to remind everybody that earlier we were having a moral discussion about whether or not we would waste a $10 pair of shoes in order to save a child's life. Just want to kind of bring that right back around.
I feel like
Yeah,
that
that's
was supposed to be like the easy unanimous thing, but we didn't quite get there. Like,
Yeah. Like the $10 thing is supposed to be like, yeah, I would jump in and say that child, and everyone's like, I don't know.
I don't know. We're just trying to riff, man.
well, like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, morality builds upon itself, right? So we're if we go back 3,000 years ago, morality looks very different. And I don't think that, like, if we brought our modern morality to a couple thousand years ago, people would look at us like we're lunatics. But we have the privilege, the access, whatever you want to call it, to literally thousands of years of religion and philosophy to build a sort of giant moral foundation of the earth and the people.
Except,
Yeah.
what about things that contradict?
It is kind of funny to imagine trying to explain the trolley problem to somebody 3,000 years ago. It's like, okay, so you've got the great magic spell, and then you've got like the magic spell to control it. So do you cast the controlling magic spell, control the great magic spell, or do you allow the great magic spell to reach its conclusion? And they're like, no, you have to die. Like, you're a witch. Like,
I kill you. I kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I think even like 10 years ago, I think we all had like somewhat different mindsets. I think one hypothetical we used to throw around 10 years ago was like, if a girl fucks you in the butt with a strap on, is that gay?
Oh yeah,
And I would like to think that we all realize
the classic
it's not gay
Andyland one, classic
in
Andyland one
2022.
outdoor conversations.
Yeah.
Do we all agree that's not gay, right?
how much do you like?
Yeah.
No,
Not gay.
I'm just kidding.
Not gay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, man. Like, shit just adds on itself. So
It's not gay because it's called pegging.
Yeah,
Those are
sex
two
with a
different
woman.
words. It's
You
not.
can't be
It's
gay
not
with sex with a
pegging,
woman.
it's pegging.
Yeah.
but I don't know where we're going with this, but is that the fourth hypothetical, Justin?
That's a whole hypothetical. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I'm just trying to illustrate that things have changed over the last year. Like, 10 years ago, that would have started a fight. But I don't think that starts a fight in 2022. I think we're all in pretty good agreement that, like, you can enjoy your own butt as a man.
Sure. But then also, like, I don't know, like you're saying, morality is a radius. So it's like you're at the center of your universe. Like, I'm never going to be the center of your universe. I don't think that's possible because, like, it's your first person interpretation of everything around you.
Is it just the radius of your empathy?
I don't think it's the radius of your empathy. I think it's like
radius of your.
There's a proximity.
I think there's
a physical proximity of some sort.
There's a proximity.
But
there's
I live in Austin. You guys are on the East Coast.
Yeah, but I can physically see you through
other.
my screen. All right.
Okay. So,
okay.
So like
it's
in the
present in my mind.
where you can be anywhere at any time. What is that proximity now? Is that proximity global? Does that proximity end at state borders?
Well, there's a few different though, right? So there's like the physical proximity. Like, if someone's house is on fire in California, shit happens all the time. Like, I can't run across there and go help them out.
Right. I think it's a perception thing. Like, if I'm talking to some child in Africa over, like, instant messenger or something, like, that person's halfway across the world and they're, like, begging me for something, I probably have some level of obligation to them. Maybe. I'd have to think about it a little more. But, like, definitely way more than someone that just exists to be on paper.
Sure. But see, that's the other thing, though. Not only is there, like, a physical proximity, but there's also, like, the responsibility proximity. And it's like, are you responsible for everyone in the world? Everyone suffering? Everyone that you can maybe help? Everyone that you can definitely help? Like, you can definitely help a lot of people, and most of those people are closer to you than you think. But for one reason or another, most people generally don't. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I think it would be better if we were all, like, nicer and tried to help each other. But I don't think it's the onus of the person to put the world's suffering on their shoulders and have to, like, go and do everything. Because, like,
sure, I think to an extent.
Like you said, you have to take care. You have your own internal meter, and everyone's internal meter is different. Like for me, it's like I said, me at the center. Then, like, my meter, like, goes, like, further out and out and out depending on, what it is. It's like, do I give $1 to someone across the world? Fine, here's $1. Do I give $10,000 to someone across the world? Probably not. And then there's, like, different variations in that.
So I think one thing that has sort of made me less generous is that, like, I've had a few experiences where I've encountered people that have been sort of panhandling or something, and I've actually, like, put in some effort to try to get them something to eat. Because I learned that, like, a lot of times if you give people in that situation money. So I actually remember there was this guy that would panhandle at Old Georgetown in Democracy. And then it was like the same guy, he was always there. And then one time I saw with this big, like, 36 pack. So it's like, it seemed pretty clear to me that he would, like, panhandle and then get the 36 pack. And, like,
hey, Nate.
Yeah.
The peasants in Egypt would drink beer for breakfast because it was a good hearty meal. It was a lot of calories. So, who are you to say?
I'm nobody to say, but I've heard it's a common problem. So in lieu of that, what I have actually tried to, it's like, okay, that actually might be bad for them, but maybe there's something else I can do. So I've tried to get people, but one pretty amazing thing about our country actually is that basically everybody in that situation is not hungry. Almost all of them have SNAP. And they told me this. They're like, look, don't worry about me like that. Like, I can get food. I have SNAP. Like, they've like tried. Like, I've had different people explain this. And then if I'm not worrying about them being hungry, I actually don't care as much.
Yeah, like, I think that's true. From what I understand, almost no one in America, at least, is just straight starving to death, even if you're homeless. Like, you might be hungry or something, but you're probably eating something at some point in time.
Because then the question is, so the thing I can do to help them isn't to help them get through this day, because there isn't really anything I can do for that. But the only thing valuable I could do would be like some something like that would trigger some kind of change, like other change, and I don't even know what that would be, right? But it's not. It's definitely. It doesn't. I don't think it's $5, right? Like, I don't know.
So, according to feedingamerica.org, more than 38 million people in America, including 12 million children, are food insecure.
Right, but what is food insecure?
That means
It means that they don't know where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
Right, but are they dying?
Well,
So that's the okay.
wouldn't food insecure just mean that they're eligible for SNAP and then they get to use it? I'm actually not sure. But-
Assume for this argument that
Food insecurity means you don't know where your next meal is coming from. It means you don't know whether or not you are going to be able to eat tomorrow.
So maybe they have SNAP, but they've run out for like the month or something.
Or they have SNAP and they have more kids. Or they have SNAP and they all work, heavy labor jobs, therefore requiring more calories because that's how the human body works.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my experience is pretty anecdotal, but like, only very rarely have I actually have. I remember this one guy was very happy they got him a pizza.
Wait, as far as the anecdotal thing, I think you are right. I think that the people that are panhandling are not looking for food during the panhandling. I don't think that means that there aren't people in America that are going hungry. I think food insecurity is a really big problem, definitely in America and around the rest of the world. But I don't think that doesn't mean. I don't think that those two things are correlated.
I mean, hunger is bad. Like, if you're a kid and you're going to school and you're hungry, you're probably not learning. It's not good. I'm just trying to say, my distinction I'm trying to make is there's a difference between food insecurity and hunger and starvation.
Sure. There's a difference between life and death.
What I was saying is that I didn't even get the sense that a lot of the people that I originally assumed were in a food insecure situations were.
And I think I think that's fair. And the fact of the matter probably is that they weren't.
Right. But I guess the people that actually are, it's a more private situation where there's you
don't see children out on the
factors.
street panhandling unless they really need it.
Right.
But yeah, I think what you're saying is totally fair. You're not seeing the problem because it is not visible in front of you. And what at first seemed like the problem, people on the streets begging for money, turned out to be something different entirely.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary.
It's interesting. Food insecurity is definitely interesting. It's like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's like, at what point can you actually start feel secure and safe as a human being?
Do you feel safe and secure as a human being
Sometimes.
right now?
Physically, yeah. I know where my next meal is coming from. I know where my next paycheck's coming from. I know where my rent payment's coming from. I feel somewhat secure.
Excellent.
Okay. Do you want me to make you feel unsafe?
Yay,
Sure.
Justin.
Okay. I got a spicy hypothetical. Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, is everyone here pro-abortion?
Yes. Pro-abortion? Pro-choice. Pro-choice.
Okay.
If you choose to have an aborted fetus, yes, I believe you should be able to do that with no...
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm pro-abortion all day long. Not even
Pro-abortion all
pro-choice.
day long.
Just
Yeah, man.
pro-abortion.
Bite that bullet. Nice. Okay. What about you, Nate? What about you, Nate?
No, I think the distinction that Chris raised is important. I think pro-choice,
Okay.
but I just kind of subscribe to that kidney dialysis argument, because at the end of the day, it's you can't be a slave for somebody else's kidney dialysis. But it does actually seem like it's a bad thing, but it just doesn't it's just not more important than your autonomy over your own body.
Okay. All right. So if we're going, all right. I have two hypotheticals for this then. So pro-choice guys who are distinctly not pro-abortion. Let's say that some woman gets pregnant. She goes to the clinic. She says, it's unfortunate, but I do not consent to this baby being in my body. I want it out. Please go forward with the abortion. The doctor goes forward with the abortion and then hands her a suitcase and tells her, congratulations, it's a boy. The suitcase will open in 9 months and a baby will pop out. Do you think that anyone who gets an abortion would find this to be an acceptable agreement?
So you're saying the alternative is
He's
the
saying
child
it's removed from
instead
your
gets
body.
put into a tube to grow instead of inside of your body.
You're taking away the
And they
dialysis
still
part.
have to take responsibility for the child past that point.
Correct.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So what's the question?
Like, do you think that anybody who would seek an abortion would find this to be an acceptable agreement?
I think some would, but I think many.
Yeah. I think some would.
Like majority, like two people.
No, I don't think
of that?
majority.
You think a majority would think like, I'm going to have a baby, but it's just not going to be in my body?
Well,
No, I don't think a majority. I don't think a majority would take
Oh, okay.
that deal.
so practically, you probably could organize an adoption.
Okay, well, for the sake of the argument, let's say adoption's off the table. Because, let's just say it's off the table right now.
Then
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
think anyone that wants an abortion would be okay with that. Like
I don't know about that.
I think
I
the,
think
the,
so- I think
vast,
some
the,
people
vast,
would.
the vast amount of people, at least in my not being a woman, not being around pregnant people, sort of mentality is that like I want an abortion because something awful happened to me. B, the child is going to be, have some very bad disease, or C, I don't want a kid right now. I'm fucking 18, 19. Doesn't matter if.
What about D, which is bringing this baby to term will kill me?
Sure.
Okay,
Or just, like, it freaks me out.
I think those people would for sure just be like, okay, give me the suitcase. See you in 9 months.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people
there
that
are
want that
people
case.
that say, like, even if it harms the mother or is at risk to the mother, you got to have the baby anyway. I think those people are crazy. I think the majority of people that are sane in America are not making that argument. The majority of people that are pro-life or anti-abortion, I should say, are against elective abortions, and that's where like the questionable part comes in. I don't think that anybody's really arguing about whether or not life of mother is like an actual concern.
So to me, that example basically kind of surgically takes away like how I reason to like a pro-choice position, and I think it'd be really hard to build it without that. Because so when I say the dialysis, basically it's like I think an analogy is like just say like you're in a hospital and their kidney dialysis machine doesn't work and there's somebody that's dying, but they can use you as a dialysis machine and for some reason just you and only you.
Yeah, I think there is something to a bodily autonomy argument, but I don't think any of those arguments actually apply to why people want abortions.
But I'm just saying it does apply to why I think they should get the right to.
I mean, sure, yeah, but I don't think that's why anybody is asking for abortions. People are asking for abortions because they don't want to have a baby.
Right. I would say the majority of people who ask for abortions don't want a baby, regardless of the circumstances of how it's brought about. If the baby is tied to them, I don't think they want to see it.
But what about in the case of a woman who is raped or?
I mean, they don't want those babies either. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think
they
anybody
definitely
would
don't
take
want
the
those
suitcase
babies,
one
but
either.
it's not because they don't want a baby. It's because they don't want the baby.
I mean,
Right. Well,
yeah.
consider that a lot of the downsides.
Like a child is a combination of genetic material from two people. There is still a part of you in that.
Sure.
Right.
I think a lot of people just don't. It's like a huge amount of energy to spend, and it's like much harder to like go to work and stuff when you're pregnant. I think, and
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a lot of people that just that at whatever point they are at in their life, that much for them.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah, I think people would take that deal, would like opt into taking that deal a lot too, even if they weren't in a situation where they're like, oh, I want to have an abortion. They'd be like,
Yeah, I think there's like a small minority of people that would take that deal and keep the baby, but I think the majority of people that are pro-abortion would be opposed to that deal.
I mean, I think you might be right about the majority, but I don't know if it'd be like a huge majority.
You don't think so? Okay. Well, maybe we disagree about that. Okay. We got 5 more minutes. So we all agree that abortion is okay and probably good. How good? Or how okay? So let's say there's a sex worker who has an OnlyFans page who specializes in pregnancy porn. She gets pregnant as often as she can. And at the end of the first trimester, after she's showing and everything, and she's made her money off of OnlyFans, she decides to abort, and she's totally fine with that. That's the only use of birth control that she does. Is anything she's doing wrong?
yeah, she's ruining her body for capitalism.
I mean, it's her body, though, right?
Sure.
Her body, her choice.
There you go.
I mean, is that wrong, though?
I have a less consequentialist opinion on that. I just think it's just not good.
It's probably not good. It's probably kind of insane people shit. But is it morally wrong? Is anything she's doing morally wrong?
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't think so.
What's wrong?
I think the only wrong would be is if. Well, so this depends on if men have any say in, you know.
Let's say that everyone that gets pregnant is like willing participant. Like they sign a waiver, everything.
Oh, then yeah, it's fine.
You think it's fine, 100%.
Sure.
No problems. Sure. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that if people want like.
I wouldn't be friends with that person.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't follow that person. I wouldn't
fucking
be anywhere near that person. But I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that that's morally wrong.
I'm pretty extreme. I don't have very many like pretty hard extreme views, but one of them mine is like bodily autonomy. Like if you want to cut off your legs and you think you look better with no legs, so go for it. Go sit on some train tracks. Like it's your life, man. It's your body. Do what you want.
It's your body. It's your choice.
Yeah.
If that was like one individual, then like I don't think it's good. If there's one individual, I don't know.
All right, the question is whether it's moral or not. If one person's doing it, it's either moral or immoral, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think these things, there's like degrees anyway. And what I'm trying to say is like, I don't necessarily think it's moral, but just if it's just one person, that the degree of that isn't severe enough that I would feel compelled to like advocate or do anything or try to stop them. But if there was like a huge swath of people that all started doing that, I actually would in favor of some sort of law to prevent that from happening. I just don't think that that's necessarily. I think people like.
Why? Why would you pursue a law to prevent it from happening? Who would the law be for?
The law
Who's
would
the law
be for
protecting
just
in this case?
having like a world that would not be happening. So, and I'm not talking about like. I'm not talking about the one person creating like the one video. I'm talking about start having like a big impact, like because there's just
what's wrong with it? What's wrong?
There's things that actually add value to the world that you could be doing, and it's just a lot of not that. And for example, there's laws.
Isn't that like social media in general?
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference exactly between that and any other OnlyFans page?
Well, okay. So I don't know if it's specifically related to pornography, but I think there are just with social media, as Chris said, with social media in general, there actually we could use something like that, like because there are lots of people that are just losing a lot of like valuable energy that could actually be doing something else. And I don't know what the solution is. I think like law as we normally understand it would be really heavy-handed. Like it would just be better to get people doing something else, I think.
I mean,
is there anything wrong with the actual actions that they're taking? And if so, what?
I guess it's just the opportunity cost mainly.
Opportunity cost.
Like
what if they just take all those babies though and they like do something with them? Further medicine. You're not thinking.
Yeah, I mean, what if? What if like they donate fetal tissue to stem cell research every time?
Why then?
Well, at least it's not such a waste.
So have you guys heard of Kant's categorical imperative?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch
Go
of
ahead.
formulations. The first one is something I try and like not live by, but keep in mind when I'm doing stuff. It says act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become universal law. Pretty much means like if you're gonna do something, imagine if everyone in the world did it exactly the way you're doing it, and what would that world look like? And is that the world you want to live in? So I don't know. I think it's like if every woman in the world started getting abortions, just knocking them out at 3 months, just knocking them out, that probably wouldn't be a good thing for society, because as far as I understand it, every subsequent abortion makes it harder to get pregnant. And not saying that like
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, there's a physical toll on a woman's body from having an abortion. It's not
Yeah.
just like you go in and they just like give you a pill and everything flushes out.
Right.
It is a difficult and grueling process, and to assume that people would do it out of fun is
Although
That's kind of fucked up.
if you're early enough,
Yeah.
it is actually a pill. If you're really early, it's actually a pill. You
Plan
take it.
B.
Yeah,
No,
I think
not
90%.
not Plan B. It's like an Omega Plan B, and like you take it, and it's like a hyper period, and just like
Yeah, it's like 2 pills.
Yeah, but then you're still
Just
flushing
out.
that out of your body. Like even a
Right,
regular
right.
period doesn't feel good.
right,
I mean, yeah, but like, there's not a vacuum going up there or anything.
right.
Sure.
Not for a while at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so I don't think that's good. But if every OnlyFans, like if you narrow it down to like every OnlyFans person, I think that's like fucking 100%. Do whatever you want. Just
Why
because
Yeah.
why does the categorical imperative apply to people starting only? Because the whole point is that you're like universalizing any decision and using that to determine if it's good or bad.
I understand, but I think if you're on OnlyFans, like there's a certain limit where it make
I think what Alan's saying is if we live in a world where every woman does it, it would be a problem. If you live in a world where every sex worker does it, it's different.
I
And
guess.
I'm just saying
sort of.
there's some inflection point between like a small number of people and a large number of people. Where it becomes-
There is, but there's only a problem in my view is if you think there's a problem with like, I guess, birth rates in society and everyone continuing and all that sort of stuff. If you think that's like, hey, we're here, just burn it all down. Just who cares? Like do whatever you want.
Okay. I think we're running against time. So anyone got closing statements?
It's interesting question, Justin. Good job, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, these are high quality hypotheticals.
Quality hypotheticals. I like that a lot.
Maybe that could be its own podcast, actually.
Yeah,
Sure.
man.
High quality hypotheticals. It's a 15-minute podcast every week. One question.
Yep. I think there's a lot of hypotheticals you could run to time with that.
Sure. It's
With the right group? Hell yeah.
let's bookmark that as like a
Sure.
potential mini-sode series.
So what if
I like-
there's 4 women in the line to get an abortion on one trolley track?
I like the part where we ask questions about the hypothetical.
Sure.
That's my favorite part of the hypothetical.
Yeah.
And I decided it would be funny to try to add the trolley problem.
Oh no, we got a name, and we're proud.
I
Of you
don't
as well.
think that was a good one.
We're proud of you as well.
Okay.
But yeah, man, morality's tough. Some people say it's universal. It might be to some extent. I don't know if it's quite universal as many people say it is, but
Who's
Yeah.
got the ball next week?
it builds, and you learn upon our collective ancestors.
I think you're next week, Chris. I think-
Christopher's next week. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
gotta get my topic picked out.
excellent.
Sick.
All right, boys. So you want to wrap it up? Any
Yep.
Last thoughts?
Wrap it up.
All right, Justin, sing us out.
Bye.
See ya.
There actually is a circus here in Tyson's right now.